What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Miguel and you're watching Miguel EDC, the channel where we talk everything EDC gear. Here today we're going to be reviewing this awesome knife right here, the Quiet Carry Drift. This has been a blast to EDC in the channel here. Over the last week or so, I've gotten a chance to EDC this knife for quite some time, and yeah, it's definitely been a pleasure, a treat to EDC. And today I'm going to be doing the review on this knife, and I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know about it. Before we get started, I do want to share with you guys that I recently got Invisaline treatment. And if you sound me with a lisp or something, just don't bully me too much in the comments, all right? Just putting that out there. I'm still going to be making videos. I'm going to have these Invisaline trays, that's what they're called, changing them every Monday, and I'm going to have them for about 6 months. So it's going to be a whole 6-month treatment. I'm going to try my best to talk as normal, but from time to time, you might sound a little bit Mike Tyson a little bit on my end. But yeah, just work with me here. So back to the review. Got a chance to unbox this knife here about a week ago. This knife is part of the Lefty EDC pass around. I believe this particular one belongs to JD for EDC, another knife YouTuber as well. I'll be linking both of those channels down in the description if you want to check those for more details. I definitely highly recommend them. They are great channels. They make great content, and you guys would not be disappointed. So as part of the knife pass around, we get a chance to check out a knife, and typically it's for a little bit less time than we normally would any other knife. So I've gotten a chance to work with this knife here for the last week, but today I'm recording this video here and just running to the post office to go ahead and send this knife to the next YouTuber who will be reviewing it. So that's just about how it works. So we get a knife for about 6 to 7 days to do content, and then we have to pass it on to the next person. So I'm extremely grateful for Lefty EDC, extremely grateful for JD for EDC, both of them. Keep in mind, guys, there are affiliate links for this knife and any knife that you see on this video. So if you want to check those out, those links do help out the channel at no extra cost to you. Let's kickstart things off here with a measurement. If I can simply find where my tape measurement is. Miguel, where is your stuff? Maybe get a little bit prepared for this before the video starts. That might be a good thing to do, right? All right, overall length on this bad boy here should be around, let me see here, it's gonna be around 7.8 inches, 7.80 inches. Very close to 8 inches, honestly, though. So I'm gonna call it 8 inches right there, open length. As far as the blade goes, we're looking at like 3.5, cutting edge around 3 and perhaps 3.4 inches right there, cutting edge. The body or handle in this case, body or handle in this case is going to be a total of around 4.5 inches, 4.50 right there. And those are your measurements, just to have an idea here. What is going on as far as the action with this guy? Well, you have a hole going on here for deployment, and of course you can thumb deploy and you can reverse flick. And let me show you, right? I had a little bit of a struggle with this guy deploying it during the unboxing. If you haven't checked that out, I kept putting my fingers right here in the lock bar, adding unnecessary pressure and therefore struggling. But I feel like once you get it figured out, this thing fires like crazy, and it's been very, very nice. Reverse flick, boom, very, very reliable, right? You can do that without any issues. Just put your middle finger right here through the hole, right? And it looks something like that, right? Very, very nice and easy to replicate, easy to do over and over. It is a frame lock, and the action right here, this guy's on ball bearings, so check out the drop action on this guy. Boom. It is very, very smooth. Check that out. Bam. Right, one last time, look how drop shutty this guy is. Bam. As far as handle materials, we have a G10 side, which is very nice and very grippy. If I'm being honest, I feel like Quiet Carry does an awesome job with the G10 here. Very nice. Also with this pattern right here, it has the diamond pattern going on across. So it's very good and grippy. On the other side, we have a titanium, milled titanium on this side, and we have this nice pattern right here, which is awesome, awesome. This pocket clip right here, I'll talk about it a little bit more in just a second, but this thing is close to perfection. We'll talk a little bit more about that. As far as the steel, we have a flat grind, stone washed LC 200N. And this is very close to corrosion proof, rust proof as it gets. I think maybe only a tier lower than a Vanex steel, but also very, very rust resistant. Yep, very rust resistant. Yeah, overall a very, very awesome knife. So let's do some size comparisons here. Let's do the usual, right? Next to the PM2, next to the Pair 3. It's gonna be a medium to large knife, closer to the PM2 right there, if anything. All right, let's bring in the Demko Shark's Foot right there. It's definitely gonna be bigger than that one. Demko Clip Point, still bigger than the Clip Point version of the Demko 8020.5 as well. What about the Rat Model 1? And we know this guy is on the large side. Very comparable, although a little bit shorter than the Rat 1. And here is the Rat 2. All right, you guys be the judge right there on those. Maybe one last one here, because why not? Here is the MSI Stitch, right? Another awesome knife that I have unboxed and I'm currently carrying as well for a review. And here is the MSI from Microtech as well. So that gives you an idea. It's definitely a little bit smaller than both. So that's it for size comparisons right there. Let's take a look at carry profile. So overall width, let's see, looking at a total of, all right, let's see, on the thickest part, this guy's gonna be 0.54 inches. So about half an inch right there on overall thickness. And as far as blade thickness goes, it's gonna be 0.11, right? This is gonna be a very skinny and therefore a very slicey blade. You'll hear me talk about that here in just a second. But yes, very, very thin geometry right there, which is gonna allow for a very functional and slicey knife. If we compare it to some of the other knives here, as far as that width, it's gonna be a little bit wider right there than the PM2 or Pair 3. This is the Pair 3 here. Next to the Demko 8020.5, regardless of blade shape, it's going to be a little bit thicker there, no doubt. Next to the Rat 1, which is the bigger brother, it's still a little bit thicker than the Rat 1. Definitely going to be thicker than the Rat 2 from Ontario. And yeah, next to the MSI Stitch here, the Stitch is probably going to take the cake on this one. And the MSI, very comparable, right? I think they're very, very similar, right? Length and height in the pocket here. Okay, we're gonna go in reverse order because why not? Here is the Stitch, here is the MSI. It's gonna be a very elegant oval shape. Certainly, absolutely no doubt about that. Very oval shape, very uniform, very elegant design. It's gonna be more comparable to the MSI than obviously the Stitch. Rat 1 on top and Rat 2, definitely gonna be a little bit wider, if anything, than the Rat 1. The Rat 2 is definitely slimmer, smaller knife. 8020.5 from the Shark's Foot and Clip Point. Very similar, I want to say. Yeah, very comparable as far as length and height goes. Even the overall length too. So I mean, about the same, taking up the same amount of real estate in the pocket. Very comparable there. And last but not least, here is the PM2 and the Pair 3. And yes, of course, the Spyderco knives are going to take a little bit more room because of the Spidey hole. But really not all that much, honestly. So, I mean, aside from that, okay, the PM2 carries a little bit longer. Definitely compares a little bit more to the Pair 3 as far as that folded length goes. So as I understand it, there are two versions of the Quiet Carry Drift. The Drift is the model that has this longer blade drop point design, not to be confused with the Waypoint. Waypoint? I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Waypoint. Not to be confused with the Waypoint, which is a much more narrow handle, narrower blade design. Right? This one is a slicer with a bigger, taller blade indeed. This guy is on LC200N, which is again a very, very corrosion resistant steel. And this thing is pretty much rust proof. It's gonna definitely resist quite a bit. It is one of the most corrosion resistant steels that you can get. So this is the original, from what I understand, the original Drift with the hole. My understanding is they did a Drift 2.0 version, right, or a revision of the Drift, which has thumb studs, right? So I believe that is the new version, which you can get in old titanium. That one is on their website, quietcarry.com, and of course with a thumb stud, it kind of gives you a whole different dynamics as far as deployment. No flipper on these, so for the most part you are working with a frame lock and either a hole or a thumb stud on the newer version, right? But I mean, for the most part, this one again took me a little bit of getting used to, but I feel like it definitely gets the job done. This one is a little bit more friendly than another version, which was a little bit more difficult to deploy, and I feel like they revised that hole and made it a little bit more roundish, right, as compared to the original one. Was like a half circle type of deal going on. And so this one is definitely a lot more EDC and deployment friendly, without a doubt. So on the G10 side, again, you can get this one on many different colors. This one has the blue and black. I believe there is black and red and many other colors too, right? Notice the flush hardware right here on the show side is pretty nice, pretty neat. Got the 4 dots right here, which are pretty unique to the language design for quiet carry, right? They have them on the other side. Speaking of the other side, this one here is in titanium. So you still have some steel hardware, but this part right here is titanium, and so is this clip, which is very, very nice because it gives you, honestly, the best of both worlds. You get the grip right here with the G10, still gonna be light. Then you get the titanium here, which gives it like a different aesthetics to it, and it just looks so clean from this end. You have this nice micro milling going on here on the titanium as well. Just so nice and elegant right there. I love that, definitely love that. And we have the lanyard hole, which is very interesting how they did it. They did it in a way where the hole is only on one side, so the lanyard will come out here, and that way you're not dealing with any holes on the display side, which is very, very interesting, and honestly very, very elegant that they did it that way. I mean, more companies should do lanyard holes that way, if I'm being honest. Let's not forget about the weight here. So let's do a quick weight check on this guy here before we forget. It comes in at 4.7 ounces overall weight. All right, if I compare it to something like a Stitch, that's 6 ounces. Something like an MSI, 4.7. So yeah, titanium and G10 combination, 4.7. It's not too bad. So it kind of gives you a good substantial amount of weight. Not going to be the lightest thing out there, also not going to be the heaviest thing out there. So it's a perfect weight for EDC purposes. Is there any milling going on this guy? There's a little bit of milling right here. If you can see those circles, that's about the extent of the milling on this G10 side on the liners. The only other milling is the lock bar relief right there on the titanium side. But honestly, that is about it. I see about 4 holes. Yeah, 4 holes right there on the G10 side for the liner, and on the titanium side, no milling except for the relief cutout right there. That's about it. So yeah, it definitely makes it a good substantial weight overall. As usual, let's do a quick hardware check on this bad boy right here. My tools are very recommended. They're linked down below. If you want to check it out, those links do help out the channel at no extra cost to you. I want to say this guy is probably going to be a combination of T8. All right, it looks like a T8 for the most part, and if that is the case, I'm going to be very, very happy. So right here in the pivot, yeah, definitely a T8, right? Frame lock right there, right? Those are going to be T8. Right here on the scales, T8, and 1 screw for the pocket clip, and that's T8 as well. So T8 going on all around. Very, very nice, and I'm happy for that. As far as this pocket clip, guys, this knife is rocking probably one of the best, if not the best, pocket clip that I have ever experienced. Ergonomically speaking, this knife is already awesome out of the box because, you know, you have a nice cutout right here for your index finger. As a matter of fact, it's also going to make this knife very secure because the harder you bear down on it, the more pressure you're putting on the lock bar. So, and then aside from that, it's big enough for me to get a good grip right there. You know, fits all fingers, and it's just good. If you have bigger hands, I believe they make a larger version, if I'm not mistaken. Check the Quiet Carry website. But yeah, very comfortable for forward cuts, right? You can rest your thumb up here. Got some nice jimping going on right there on the blade. I could do reverse cuts all day, every day. And I'm telling you, this pocket clip is perfect because when I'm like really bearing down on it, you have a straight line, right? There's nothing about that straight line that's going to be an issue. It doesn't go down and up and poke you in the palm, nothing like that, nothing crazy. And it also goes in and out of the pocket, y'all, with such ease. It is amazing, right? It goes in and out of the pocket like very smooth, and it's deep carry. Like, it doesn't get more deep carry than that, which is awesome. They don't have it on the left side. I'm not sure if they do a lefty version, but it would be nice if they did. Aside from that, I mean, the pocket clip is titanium as well, so that right there is awesome. Again, one of my favorites, if not the top best pocket clips that I have ever experienced on this knife. This knife is not made in the US. From what I understand, it is made in Taiwan, so that is neither here or there. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Would it have been nice if it was made in the US? Absolutely, but it probably would have come in at a higher cost. It is made in Taiwan, which is not China, right? Some people out there still think that Taiwan and China are the same country, right? right? You probably should go back to geography and you know, do geography 101 if that's the case. But yes, Taiwan quality, right? Knives that come out of Taiwan are awesome, and this knife right here is no exception. So they do really, really good QC or quality check, and also from what I've seen, their heat treatment is also on point as well. Thinking about any cons for this knife, honestly, I really can't find any. It took me a little bit to get used to I guess the deployment and not putting any additional pressure on the lock bar. What I had been ADCing before that were a lot of crossbar lock knives, where, you know, in this case a ram lock on Microtech knives and things like that. So I'm used to putting some pressure, just making sure I'm hanging on to this knife and it doesn't go flying the moment I deploy it, right? So I kind of started doing that from the beginning, immediately realized, wait a second, I'm doing it wrong. I position my fingers a little bit farther back, clip here, fingers here, and I can deploy this guy with no issues at all. Thumb deployment and reverse flick are very, very satisfying. And again, this drop shutty action here is just amazing. Just amazing drop shutty action with ball bearings. I believe the titanium versions of this knife, the newer ones, the ones that are full titanium and Vanex, they do washers instead of ball bearings. But man, oh man, the bearings on this thing are so good. Yeah, nice black spacer right here in the back for this section right here, a little bit right there as well. Again, going back to that lanyard hole situation, I feel like they executed that very, very well. More and more knives should do it that way. This thing is a slicing beast, right? Again, this blade right here, flat grind, drop point, this thing is gonna put in work. And let's, as a matter of fact, let's do a paper cutting test. And you know, I got the okay from JD for EDC to cut some cardboard as well. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. All right, here we are. You guys be the judge. Again, this knife has been reviewed by many YouTubers at this point. They have been using it, testing it left and right. So this is not the most fresh edge that it has ever had, but let's see how much of an edge it has retained. There you go. Boom. Yeah, this thing is gonna cut. Whoops. Still gonna cut like nobody's business. And I feel like LC200N does a good job, right? With edge retention, I cut right there because, yeah, I can tell that this knife has seen a ton of use, and even so, right, it is retaining a good edge. Could it probably be strapped, right? That would definitely be an advantage, right? It is not my knife, so definitely I can't do that with a knife that is not my own. It will probably, you know, benefit from that because it just has been seeing so much use. Let's do some cardboard as well. Let's see how it does with that. Flavor of the week, we have some Huggies cardboard still laying around. Let's see how it does when cutting cardboard. Don't cut perpendicular like this, but rather at an angle like that. And here we go. Bam, look at that cut right there. Boom. Yeah, you can tell it cuts really good. It is very slicey, right? And I mean, if it was just a tad bit sharper, I'm sure it will cut just even better, right? So keep in mind, it's not the sharpest it could possibly be. And even then, it is cutting like crazy, right? You guys be the judge, rate it in the comments. So are there any downsides to this knife? Honestly, the more I think about it, this knife is close to perfection. If you really wanted to get picky, I guess you could say this knife has a very common design like so many other knives out there. So it's not necessarily bringing a unique design or geometry to the table. This is basically the consensus of the knife community right here, all in one knife, right? What people like the most comfortable handles, one of the most useful blade shapes, a drop point with a good belly right here, right? So, I mean, it's not necessarily revolutionizing anything as far as knife design goes. And, you know, it's not very unique per se in any sort of way. But aside from that, it does everything else very well. The only thing I would have liked to see on this version, again, I believe this is version 1, there's a new version 2, is a forward choke, right? A forward choke would have been nice. And guess what? They did it. The version 2 has basically this section right here for your index where you access the lock bar, and then it has a nice round finger choil right here as well. So yeah, they fixed that on the version 2 as well. So if you want to get a finger choil, get that version 2. If you don't need a finger choil, this one is the way to go. You can still get both actually till this day. If you go to their website, you'll see this model right here. I believe this one is the Drift LC. And then the regular drift is now the second version with the fingered choil, so you can check that out. So in conclusions about this knife, y'all, awesome EDC knife. My taste, I want to get a quiet carry knife so bad right now. Remember, this is a loaner. I'm sending this one back today, back to the knife pass around. But I mean, if I had to pick a quiet carry, this one is up there. Again, the Waypoint, I feel like still calls my name a little bit more than this one. But getting this one, that old titanium, man, oh man, there's something about, you know, that monochrome old titanium version that it calls my name. And again, if you get the old titanium, you also get a Vanex steel instead of LC200N. By the way, the liners on this guy, right, are LC200N as well. So lots of corrosion resistance going on here. If you get the full titanium with Vanex, lots of corrosion resistance going on there. That is their main thing. And honestly, these are awesome knives, very elegant, very reliable, a very awesome piece to carry. Pocket clip is just amazing. They also do like a paper clip, pocket clip as well. So if you're into that, that's another possibility as well that you could look into. Thumb studs or hole deployment, right? Whichever one you like the most, they have it. They have both versions. So get the one that you like. But other than that, great knife, you guys. Highly recommend it. You know, it comes time where I have to send it back and I'm over here like, oh man, like it's such a great knife. I don't want to let it go. So my takeaways are I need to pick one of these up ASAP. That is my takeaway, because this is just a great knife. This is just a great knife. Very minimal things if you want to be very picky, but I mean, there's so much going for it. I believe this one is around 250 to 280. If you want to get all titanium, we're looking at, you know, 300s and up. But again, very high quality made knife, made in Taiwan. And yeah, they do a great job. They do a great job with these knives. So there you have it. If I miss anything, please let me know in the comments any additional questions that you may want to ask about these knives. If you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe, because you know I do knife reviews and knife unboxings and EDC content like this on an ongoing basis. Smash the like button if you haven't already. It helps this video reach a larger audience and also helps the channel grow. And if you want to take your support a step further, please check out the Patreon link down below, which would allow you to support the channel for as little as $1 a month. If you made it this far, you guys are the real MVP. Chances are the review for the MSI, Microtech MSI, is going to be live right now. If that's the case, I'm going to put a card right here for that. I'm excited for this knife as well. Another awesome EDC knife right here. Hope you guys enjoyed the review on the Quiet Carry Drift LC. Thank you guys for all your time. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.